Everything you've been taught about saving money might be wrong. Wait, how does saving money make you broke? Wait, so my money literally loses value just sitting?
Because saving alone won't make you rich.
So then why does everyone tell you to just save more?
Saving alone doesn't beat something called inflation. Every year, prices rise roughly 3% on average. So if your money just sits in a regular bank account earning almost nothing, it's actually losing value every single year, even though the number on your screen looks exactly the same or even slightly bigger.
Okay, give me a real example comparing a saver versus an investor.
Exactly. If you saved $100,000 today and left it untouched for 20 years in a normal savings account, inflation alone could cut its real purchasing power almost in half. It'll still say $100,000 on paper, but it won't buy anywhere near what it buys today. That's the trap. Saving protects the number, but it doesn't protect what the number can actually do for you.
That's over 3 times more from the exact same amount saved.
Saving is the first step, not the final one, and most financial advice stops halfway through the real lesson. Saving builds the pile of money. Investing is what makes that pile actually grow faster than prices rise around it. Without investing, you're just running in place while everything else in the economy moves forward without.
So why are people scared to invest then if the math is this clear?
Let's say 2 people each save $500 a month for 30 years. Saver 1 puts it in a regular bank account earning basically nothing after inflation. Saver 2 puts that same $500 into a simple index fund, averaging 7% a year. Saver 1 ends up with around $180,000, just the raw total of what they put in. Saver 2 ends up with over $560,000 because their money was actually working and multiplying the entire time instead of just sitting
Wait,
there.
before we go, what about people who say the market is too risky for regular people?
Same discipline, same monthly amount, same 30 years. Completely different outcome, purely because one person's money grew and the other person's money just sat still while prices around it kept climbing every single year.
So patience is actually the real skill here, not picking the perfect stock.
Because investing feels risky and saving feels safe, even though long-term, saving alone is actually the riskier choice. Nobody sees a savings account balance drop overnight, so it feels comfortable. But a stock market chart moving up and down feels scary, even though historically, over any 20 or 30-year period, the market has always trended upward overall, far outpacing what any savings account could ever offer.
What's the biggest mistake you see people make with their savings?
That fear usually comes from watching short-term news headlines instead of looking at long-term data. Yes, the market drops sometimes sharply, but if you look at any rolling 20-year period in history, it has always ended up positive overall. The people who lose money aren't the ones who invest long-term. They're usually the ones who panic and pull their money out right after a drop, locking in the loss instead of waiting for the recovery that almost always follows.
That's such a quiet kind of loss because it doesn't feel like losing anything at all.
Exactly, and that's honestly the most freeing part of this whole idea. You don't need to be a genius stock picker or watch financial news every day. A simple, boring, low-cost index fund, contributed to consistently over decades, has historically outperformed most professionally managed funds anyway. Consistency beats complexity almost every single time.
So the real shift is just changing how you see a savings account itself.
The biggest mistake is treating a large savings balance as a finish line instead of a starting point. People work incredibly hard to save $50,000 or $100,000, feel proud of hitting that number, and then just let it sit in a low-interest account for years out of fear or simply not knowing what to do next. That money sitting idle for a decade could have doubled or tripled if it had been invested instead. And that gap between what it was and what it could have become is money quietly lost forever, even though nothing was ever technically spent.
So what should someone actually do with their savings once they have some built up?
That's exactly why it's so dangerous. Losing money to a bad purchase feels obvious and immediate. Losing money to inflation while it sits safely in a savings account feels like nothing at all because your balance never actually goes down on the screen. But the purchasing power